Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairman Jackson.
Present.
Councilor Dunn. Present. Councilor Harris. Present. Councilor LeBlanc.
Present.
And Councilor McLaughlin.
Present.
Chair, you do have a form.
Great. Would the clerk please call the first new matters?
First, new matter is approval of minutes from August 22nd, 2022.
So moved.
Councilor Blank moves approval of the minutes from August 22, 2022. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Would the clerk read the next new matters?
Flora Holdings LLC special permit application.
Is there anyone here from the floor holdings?
We had
Anybody here from Flora Holdings?
we had talked to them and they said the law department said we're not talking or doing anything so far.
Okay, so there's no one here from Flora Holdings, LLC.
For your information, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Harris.
Thank you very much. So just so that that doesn't seem confusing, they came before us last week to re-advertise, to meet certain rules and regulations that we, so they are before us and on our docket. Oh, thank you. I'll speak loudly. They are before us and on our docket because they were before us last week and we naturally moved to committee and gone through the process. However, we've already heard their, we worked their special permit, we worked all summer on their special permit, and we moved that to the law department, the last ordinances and rules committee. So I just wanted to make that clear and confirm with you kind of what our next steps with this other matter from the public hearing that's coming forward.
Right, I think they re-advertised their public hearing, and conducted the public hearing at the last meeting so that to enable the two other councilors to be able to vote on the matter that weren't on the council prior to this year. So that's the sense of it. So that's my answer to your question. Councilman McLaughlin, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, can you, I'm not sure we covered this at the beginning, but if there's anybody else recording in the room?
Yes.
they can identify.
Is there anyone recording the room? You can state your name and your address for the record.
James Fratellis, 19 Gorham Street, Waltham.
Thank you very much. So Councilman McLaughlin has a motion. Oh, sorry. Councilor.
Point of order. So there's nothing before us currently for Flora Holdings that we need to make any decisions on tonight.
Correct.
Thank you.
Council, LeBlanc.
Make a motion to table?
Councilman McLaughlin already did.
Sorry.
And we're going to continue the public hearing for Flora Holdings LLC to a date certain from 2 weeks from tonight, which would be October.
Fine with fine.
Third.
Great, so Councilman McLaughlin moves to continue the public hearing for Flora Holdings LLC to a date certain of October 3rd. Discussion on that motion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Would the clerk read the next new matter?
Next new matter, Waltham Cannabis Inc., special permit application.
Is there anyone here from Waltham Cannabis? Great. Attorney Joseph Connors.
Information, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
To the attorney, can you state the address to be discussed?
This is 1254, 1256 Main Street.
Let the record reflect that Councilor Blank has recused himself from this matter.
Yes, based
due to
on
potential conflict.
potential conflict due to the proximity of where I work.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I did want to present a letter, brief letter to the committee.
Thank you. Councilman McLaughlin moves to hear from all off-committee members. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Attorney Connors, you have the floor.
So I have Attorney Joseph Connors on behalf of the petitioner, 404 Main Street here in Waltham. I did write up just a brief letter. There was a couple of issues raised at the committee last week. Number one, there was a question on whether or not a proximity to the Wayside Trail. So what I did was I just attached a copy of the cover sheet to the Wayside Trail, the bike trail, and kind of a close-up of that portion of the trail that's across Main Street. So our property at the corner of Main Street and Cutting Lane is on the south side of Main Street. This plan reveals that the trail is on the north side of Main Street. So There was a question as to whether or not we funded that rail trail, and I believe we do not, because it's on the other side of Main Street, as it flows into kind of the end of the beginning of the 1265 Main Street over. So that was number one. Number two, there was an inquiry from Council Katz, echoed by Council O'Brien, as to whether or not we'd be willing to have another community outreach meeting, and Klein has agreed to do so. So we're trying to secure a facility in early October, so we can do that, and then we will notify certified butters according to the CCC rules and publish it in Boston Globe at least 14 days prior. So our hope is first week, second week of October, but we just need to secure the hall and make sure that we can publish 14 days prior to that. And then the third part of the letter was an inquiry about the kind of a busy clientele. I did tell the council Bradley that I hadn't drafted, but I would check our traffic report to see if there was kind of a breakdown on that, and it really wasn't. The traffic report talked about trip generations, but it didn't really articulate who the clientele would be. So my clientele would be Dane Schmidt, to my right, of Waltham candidates that we expect a very cross-section of people from the local community, all above the age of 21. So that was my,
I think you mean the age of 21.
all above the age of 21, correct?
No, the age of 21 or older, right?
Yes.
Okay. Questions of the attorney for Waltham campus? If I may ask, is there any difference in your plans other than what you mentioned at the last meeting?
No. I mean, so we went over that last week, and our plans remain the same plans that we're
Great.
proceeding with.
Thank you. No further questions? Council, actually, it's the ward council, we're going to have a motion. So Councilor Katz, you have the floor.
Thank you. So I appreciate the petitioner making the offer to have the community meeting. I would respectfully request, which I believe would be for the benefit of all parties, if they go beyond the minimum requirements of, I believe, it's 300 feet, and include the neighborhood. So that would include the streets of Ravenswood, Stowe, Keach, Dorchester, Colburn, Milton, and that portion of Main Street. I believe I've got them all, it might be Sheridan and Cutting Lane. If they would do a postcard mailing to those homes to inform them of the meeting, that would be my request. And again, I think it would be mutually beneficial for all parties to be known.
So there's a question through the chair to attorney. And I know you're not bound by the law, but would you be able to?
Mr. Chairman.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My only concern, and as a ward councilor, I completely empathize with what the Ward 7 council is saying. My only concern is we would not be measuring with the same stick all of the other applicants. That would be a concern, especially given the fact there are a limited amount of permits.
Correct. So this is purely a voluntary action by the attorney, and no matter if they decide yes or no, it has no bearing on the decision that this board makes. Would you not agree with that?
Why don't we hear what the response is, and then I might have a suggestion.
Great, thank you. So, Attorney Connors, you have the floor.
Well, I mean, initially, we didn't want to do that because we didn't know how far outside of that circle we go. We go 400 feet, 500 feet, and where does it stop? And I mean, we did hear several streets that right now we're probably picking up Cutting Lane, Stowe Street, Ravenswood on the other side of Stowe, so they're definitely outside of 300 feet.
No, that's on, sorry, that's on the same.
The attorney has the floor.
And then same thing with Milton Street. I know, maybe I'm wrong on Ravenswood, but I know Milton Street is definitely up Stowe Street on the other side of the street. So, I mean, my concern is how far do I go?
Right. Councilor McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could request that we have the clerk reach out to the law department. And again, my concern, I understand this is voluntary versus us telling them we need to do it. If the clerk could reach out to the law department, I don't think this is a confusing question, but if the law department could opine on whether expanding that area puts us in conflict with the other petitions.
Right, so Councilor McLaughlin is.
No, I can give that to you.
So Councilor McLaughlin is making a request that the law department opine whether or not if we even voluntarily ask the attorney for the petitioner to expand that area, does that put us in jeopardy as a board? So the decision.
Hey, Mr. Chen, in hindsight's 2020, you know.
Right. No, it's
And we
fair.
talked about this at the very beginning. I would have been absolutely fine because, you know, how I
Understood.
feel.
So, Mr. Chairman, so
Hold on. Councilor McLaughlin still has the floor.
So just that I'd ask that we hear from Council, from Ward 7 before we take a vote on this.
Great, thank you. Councilor Cass.
So I appreciate Councilor McLaughlin's input here, and I want to, I agree with him. I would like to reach out and make sure that before we ask the applicant to do this, that it doesn't put anyone in a strange predicament here.
Great. Councilor McLaughlin.
Through you to the Ward 7 Council, it's better if the request comes from the committee to the law department, and then it'll come back
Correct.
quicker versus, okay, I just want to, that's fine.
Great, so that sounds great. So we have a request from Councilor McLaughlin to the law department to opine on the matter that we just discussed. Discussion on the matter. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. That request will be sent, and we'll get a response for the committee meeting.
Well, we should be waiting, because we're not gonna have a meeting in the next, we can't post the meeting in the first 2 weeks of October, right? If the law
So
department,
maybe within the request, we should ask that if what comes back, we can immediately send it to the.
I'd make,
the
yeah,
petitioner.
I'd make a motion that we instruct the clerk to pass that information back on to the petitioner and the committee and the Ward 7 Councilor, and that would allow the petitioner to move ahead with scheduling something.
Great, so we have a request to authorize the clerk to send that response to the law department immediately out. Discussion on that request. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you.
Any other discussion about this matter? Hearing none, Councilor McLaughlin moves to table the matter. Just a question, is there a timeframe?
this expires on October 31.
Okay,
But
so-
this particular case, though, hasn't been sent to the law department, so we're not waiting for them to, for something to come back, and we haven't sent it over.
Okay.
So just for your information, so
Okay.
it's not, yeah.
All right. Councilor McLaughlin.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, through you to the attorney for the petitioner. So what's, right now, what's the drop dead date?
October 31.
October 31, I thought you said October 1st. Okay, great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Councilor McLaughlin moves to place that matter on the table. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Sorry, let me withdraw that motion from Councilor McLaughlin.
Are you saying that your belief that we have not sent that, we have not?
We have not.
The committee hasn't sent it over there.
Councilor McLaughlin amends his tabling to table that matter to a date certain of October 3rd, 2022 for this public hearing.
Good.
All those in
It's just that, I'm not available on October 3rd, unfortunately, I can't be here on that date. We'll go ahead, we'll put it on.
No, I mean,
So,
if we continue the public hearing, we have to continue it to a date certain. So that's why I'm saying.
All right, then.
And then on October 3rd, if you're not here, we're going to continue it to the next
Okay,
meeting.
fine.
So on that motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would the clerk read the next reading matter?
Next matter, minor modification, special permit at 135 Second Ave for KW Waltham LLC.
Is there anyone here representing KW Waltham LLC?
Good evening, Chair.
Council McLaughlin moves to hear from all committee members. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Attorney, you have the floor.
Good evening, how are you? My name is Brett Francis with the law office of Brett J. Francis. I'm here tonight on behalf of Phil McCourt, Attorney Phil McCourt, who has a bum knee and is unable to make it tonight and regrets his absence. This is a minor modification request. We are seeking to install carports and a solar panel essentially where there is existing parking already. This is not for any increase in parking. This is not for any increase in units, rooms. This has nothing to do with the structure itself. It's simply to add carports, solar panel carports over certain parking areas along the lot. Just to bring you up to speed, we did go to the zoning board because of the existing parking where it is located on the boundaries of the lot. We did have to get dimensional variances for those which were granted. So this is the final stop. We're here tonight to seek a minor modification to allow for the installation, use, and maintenance of the carports on behalf of the petitioner. KW Waltham.
Thank you. Councilor Harris.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for your adjournment for petitioner. Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Good. So can you walk us through, I mean, we have diagram. Can you just go through what you're planning to do? I mean, I get the concept of carports and I get the concept of solar panels. But sometimes when you add those two things together, they don't always add up to what the perception is and also the aesthetic and the design.
Sure, I do have actually a couple renderings that show the proposed carports. I do have with me here Stephen Elliott, who is the solar contractor, and if you have any specific questions on the solar panel themselves, he'd be happy to answer any.
Is it just one copy or?
I do just have one copy. Again, this
Just
is,
pass it around so people don't have questions. Okay. With that concept, can I ask that you provide that rendering to us in front of the committee?
sure.
Thank you.
Also, in that vein, I will have a proposed decision Thursday as well. That has not been on file yet. There will be a proposed decision filed for Thursday for
Through you, Mr. Chairman, what board have you gone for?
zoning.
Zoning. And seeking exactly what we,
Dimensional, side yard variance, rear yard variance, because of the existing, where they're located. You're gonna put the carports over the existing parking, and this was via special permit, I believe in 2015, for the hotel, FAR, so on and so forth. So this is just to add it over the existing parking areas, but the parking is along the lot lines, so by definition it required variance.
okay, so, through you, Mr. Chairman, while we're passing this picture around, can you just walk through for people who might be watching the phone and people who are interested in modifications to special permits, what exactly you're trying to accomplish with the solar panels and how the design influenced that goal?
I imagine the sign, I mean, the positioning and the locations of their solar panels were done in touch with,
We've gone to the building department.
Could you state your name and address?
My name is Herb Staniszewski. I'm one of the principals at KW Waltham LLC.
Thank you.
What we did, we initially came up with a design, and then we had the building department, fire department come out, and they asked us to make some modifications to that, which we did. And we also had it presented to the buildings, for the building franchise as well. So the idea is to utilize the parking, the existing parking spaces, and put the carport above that, which will generate approximately 75% of our energy, which, really is a benefit for everyone. It's a benefit, I think, for the town, because it's going to reduce the demand on usage during the peak times. We're also going to put battery backup into the system, which will allow the electric company to draw that power when there is peak demand in the area. So, we think that and it's green, so it's really, it's great, it's a great project for everyone. Also, it's good for our guests because we are now covering a large percentage of parking lot, which is providing covered parking as well. So, we really see it as a win-win-win for all parties.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, so I did agree correctly, so 75% of the current demand of the Hilton property is going to be now supplied, should this be through these port solar things?
Yeah, that's more or less. Steve?
Close to 78%.
Yes.
Okay, and that's day in, day out?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And what, in terms of the impact of that, I mean, that's positive impact, you are gonna have to obviously put in some sort of pylon and install the carport itself.
Yeah.
What does that do? Did you reduce parking in
No.
any way? Okay.
No, not even.
Did you change flow coordination at the site?
No,
Does it impact your snow storage, snow removal?
no,
And it doesn't impact any of the drainage that's already been?
no, because they're all drained.
So you don't need any additional drainage requirements, what flows off of the, I have to kind of spell this out, people watching and, trying to follow what we do here. So the water that flows off the panels will flow onto the ground, and then the regular drainage that's
Correct.
there are gonna flow into drains
Correct.
existing. And what is the duration of the project?
Timeline, I
Sorry.
mean, once approved, it shouldn't take more than a few weeks. Am I correct?
Are we talking about the installation?
Yeah, I'm talking about the project itself, how long will it take? Sorry if that.
Could you state your name?
Yes, my name's Steve Ellicott. I'm the owner of Infusion, which is where the solar developer and contractor. We expect the project, from a construction perspective, the biggest challenge will be the piers or the footings that you're talking about. We plan, at least at this stage, we plan on doing that in stages so that we can be as least disruptive to the hotel's operations. Right.
So you're gonna do it in phases?
Correct, correct. And it will take a few months. The actual installation of the structures, which get manufactured, they're manufactured in Michigan, they'll be shipped, we'll have the piers already in place, they have bolts that stick up, and that part of the process will take a matter of days to a week to erect the structures, and then it'll take a few weeks for the electricians to go ahead and mount the panels and wire them up and so on and so forth. So over the course of time, I think it'll take probably something in the range of about 3 months in a staged effect to construct the carports.
Okay, and through you, Mr. Chairman, are there any issues with supply chain and obtaining the necessary equipment that's needed for this project? Maybe we hate to approve something and then it just doesn't get done.
Good question,
I mean,
good question. It's
Different time.
been an extreme challenge, but we, I'm just mentioning to the owners that we've secured one of the more difficult parts, which is the battery. It's actually located right now in Milton, Massachusetts, along. It's local, right? Exactly. It was a project that was canceled in Connecticut, and so we latched onto it. So other than that, the steel is awaiting us in Michigan to be fabricated. The solar modules we have in warehouses. And so generally speaking right now, the answer is no, we don't have any supply chain issues for this particular project.
Okay, through you, Mr. Chairman, I wanted to ask another question about, when did you want to start the project? I mean, is this something you can do through the winter? Is this something that you're planning for the spring?
We would like to apply for a building permit within a matter of weeks and because that process takes time in terms of going through that process to get the piers in before the winter, and we can also install right through the winter. Once we get, as long as the ground's not frozen, we can still work with that, but we prefer not to. So we would like to get the foundations in this fall. There's a possibility we could have this completed before the end of the year, but to be realistic, I would say, to be fair, we'd like to have it done by, say, March or April.
And then just a couple more questions. and
That's
we'll probably
okay.
have questions on committee. Right now, I'm intrigued and interested in supporting this. To be honest with you, I want to see what my other colleagues have to say. I think this is a unique opportunity of using what's existing there without having to go height and create some shade and use it wisely for a green opportunity. My other question pertains to Hilton itself, so I just want to be sure that the Hilton brand, you had to get sign off. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure, there's obviously an approval process for them aesthetically. They also have quite a large green initiative. They have all their properties every year. We need to come up with basically a list of items. But between the review of our original plan, which actually had more solar panels on the site, between the review with Hilton and with the building department, fire department, we scaled it down. The fire department, the building department actually suggested we use the hill in the back, which is basically just a pile of rocks right now. And Hilton gave us a verbal approval. They said that once we got through the city, we just send them the final plan and then there.
Okay. And then my other question was, did you get official sign off on this design from the city? Was there any, or you waited to do that through the building permit process?
This is the last stage. It would be just a building permit process,
Building
the
permit
last step.
process, okay. And so the electrical aspects of this, just for my knowledge and edification, because probably isn't the last time this comes before us and it's an opportunity for our own job, is how are you hooking up all that electrical conduit so that because this all looks like it's on the perimeter of your locus. How is that electrical getting back to the hotel itself, which is where people are?
Steve could maybe answer better than I, but a lot of it
You don't have a
follows.
rendering and I don't have diagrams.
Yeah.
Normally I have those two things.
The conduits really go from one carport to the next. So where it's not contiguous, we'll trench
Okay.
between them.
And then repave.
Correct.
And then
And
repave,
restripe.
right,
Correct.
Okay.
we'd probably repave and then seal coat and stripe as well with that.
Your attorney just pulled up the drawing. Is there somewhere on there that pulls that up?
No, I was
Take a
thinking
minute.
it might be, but this is just a site plan showing.
That's what I saw.
The proposed
Saw a
location.
site plan. Okay. All right, there are a few details we normally get to see, but I'm gonna turn this over to the extent of my questions. Like I said, I am intrigued. I think it's great what you guys are doing. I just wanna see if any of my other colleagues have questions related to this before we move it forward. And just for knowledge here is, this is a modification to an existing special permit, so you're coming in on council rules to modify that special permit. It's a normal process.
That's correct.
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman?
Counselor LeBlanc.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Through the petitioner, a lot of my questions were asked and answered, and one of them that I was struggling with, I do like the project, and I like the fact that a lot of the rooftop appurtenances that come in are then higher when they come in for modification of a special permit and block sunlight to all neighboring buildings. What is the height of these, say the top of the panel to the grade?
We set the leading edge, meaning the lowest height, at 14 feet to have more than enough clearance. Typically 13.6 is required by fire department for ladder trucks and so on and so forth, as well as delivery trucks for the hotel and so on and so forth. And the highest element is, I don't have the exact number, but I'm going to say somewhere around 17 feet, because they're sloped typically at about 3 degrees, so it's a fairly modest slope.
And it looks like, from the rendering that we have here, it looks like all the buildings in the area are 20 to 30 feet in height, so it's not shading anyone.
Oh, that's correct.
Question, from the council's question from Ward 8 was about the drainage. So these panels, and I think it's anything over 150 square feet, that's a structure, you need drainage for. But you already have drainage because it's going over a parking lot, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, the parking lot, the ones that over the parking lot are sort of inverted this way, right? So the water flows onto the parking lot, in which it goes into the storm drains. And we actually have a large catch basin under the parking.
Mhm. And there's no, as far as aesthetics go, there's nothing really in the area as far as neighbors or anything that's gonna be impacted.
Actually, I think he's gonna look really cool. It's gonna look great when it's done.
Pretty secluded, actually, from the street.
It's kind of up on Second Avenue in the middle of other commercial buildings. Yeah, I like it. I don't have any other further questions, and then the only point that was brought up was, so after this, if you got an approval for a minor modification to your special permit, you already have the zoning board of appeals sign off, and you had to receive that because of the proximity to the lot line?
Correct.
How close are these structures to the lot line?
There's one corner. It's easier just to show you real quick. And you guys did get a copy of these plans. This corner right here is 5.7 feet up. And it's over an existing parking space. It isn't, anything that wasn't parking already, but because it's a structure and it's 5.7 feet off the lot line, that required one. And then in the rear, off the rear yard line, 24.3 feet, we got the variance for that as well.
And this provides 75% of the electricity for the hotel? That's pretty impressive. How many KWs is that?
Roughly 500.
Really? That's very impressive. Solar panels have come a long way.
They have.
I have no further questions.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm gonna tell you, when we have green initiatives come in, or whether they be for a minor modification of a special permit or something else, there's always a struggle, because we wanna see green initiatives, but as the at-large council has said, there's always concern about looks, height, how close they are to the edge of the roof. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you've been down to the ice rink in Falmouth, when they rebuilt the building, they put these panels in the parking lot. If you've been to UMass Amherst, this is what they have in their parking lots. It ended in 2018, but the MBTA, 37 of their parking lots, they put these panels up. I am so excited that you brought this in. To me, this is a no-brainer. This is something I'd like to see the city of Waltham do with our parking lots. That's something that I'm gonna be bringing in. And again, I mentioned the hockey rink. It's the first time I saw it. My first thought wasn't the juice it was gonna generate. It was, hey, you don't have to plow underneath there, So we're also not having to spend burn as much gas, and and deal with the snow. So I am fully in support of this. I'm so happy that you guys brought this in. I think it's a great idea. Has anyone moved approval yet?
We haven't received the order yet, so I would like the order to come in, so that we're gonna have to deliberate the order on the council's floor.
Okay.
So I think you're okay with coming in.
I think Phil was hoping otherwise, but if that's what the board so wants. I mean, the order is going to be a one-line order allowing.
Do you have it with you this evening?
I don't, but it'll be, I can get it into the clerk's office as early as tomorrow morning. It's really a one paragraph, one line.
Okay, so
Mr. Chairman,
order.
so as former chairman, we want to see the orders.
Exactly.
So that's something I don't think we should move on, but
We could, if they get the order on Thursday, and
I'd
there's a
move
problem
to-
with it, we
we
could
can-
discharge it from
if
committee.
we get this in and we're all set, I'd be happy either myself or myself to discharge this
Great.
from committee and
I think
say
that's-
next week. I'm very excited about it.
I'll get it over to you ASAP.
By Thursday.
Yeah, definitely by Thursday.
Councilor Dunn.
Yeah, I did have one question that came up for me when you mentioned don't have to plow. So while we have you here, if one of the gentlemen from the solar company could tell us, does the grade of the solar panels make it so that the snow drips off it, or do they have to be scraped off like?
We actually, we install them all with snow guards, so that there's a collection for the snow, so that it does not slide off onto people walking underneath their cars. And then the normal occurrence of the sun is going to make them drip off the edge or in a gutter section to disperse it.
So it never has to be maintained?
No,
pushing it off. Okay.
No,
All right,
correct.
thank you.
Correct.
To that question, what's the temperature of the solar panel? Does it actually melt the snow?
Well, it's a good question. I've been in this business for 15 years, and I started with doing these types of carports in California in 2008. I did them for dairy processing plants. I did them for a variety of things, and it's taken a long time for the East Coast. I live in the East Coast, grew up in the East Coast, but that's where the business was back in 2007, 2008, 2009. And now I love the enthusiasm, because if you go to California right now, every single grade school, middle school, high school, their parking lots all have solar carports. Now, they don't have the snow issue, but the question that comes up here, whether it's rooftop or carports or any other, is what happens when we get a foot of snow? The answer is that the models that we use, created by the Department of Energy, are like a bell curve. So production is very little in the wintertime, no matter what's happening, and then it ramps up, in April and goes to October. So we don't expect a lot of production, number one. Number two is think about it when it snows, it's not always perfectly even. So if a small piece of a solar panel, just think of a rooftop system for a moment, same thing here, that if a small piece is exposed, the next day after a snowstorm, usually it's what? The bluebird day. It's sunny, it's bright sun, might be cold, but the sun finds a little piece of glass and it starts to energize that solar panel. So a little bit of current starts to trickle through the solar panel. That little bit of current, small as it may be, generates heat. As it generates heat, it starts to self-melt. And then the more it self-melts, the more current that flows through it, and the more that it actually melts the snow off the solar panels.
So to that point, what is the temperature of the solar panel? If it's
I'm not sure I quite understand that question, to be honest with you. What is the temperature of the panel itself?
because when the current
If you
starts.
touch it.
Oh.
If the current is flowing, it's going to heat the panel, it's going to
Yeah,
melt the snow. So I'm just wondering, without the snow, what's the temperature?
You can touch the panels. The only area that we've really found a real problem is like in the desert. The panels do not get that hot to touch. They do generate some heat on the back side of them in particular, but on the front side, on the glass side, they generally do not generate heat.
Answer that question.
Load line.
So I have solar panels in my house,
Good
and
for
I
you.
have the tubes back from the 2007, 2008 era, and they create all my domestic hot water demand.
Oh, yeah.
The tubes run about 120 degrees,
Right.
and just like the gentleman said, that in the summertime, when the sun's a lot higher, they get real hot. They get up to 160, 180 degrees.
But that's solar thermal, not solar electric.
And then
So-
when the sun is lower in the wintertime and to the snow point, if it's, as soon as the sun comes out, they do start to break free, but on the real windy days, mid-February, the real cold days, it does take a few days, might go a day or two, but nothing more. But as soon as the sun comes out, it's no fun.
Yeah, I have panels on my house too, I find the same thing. As soon as you get a little piece of it, it melts fairly quick.
Great. And the next question I had was, what's the cost for the 500 kilowatt?
Installation.
The whole cost?
It's about 2.3 million.
2.3. Wow. Okay, great.
Any more questions?
Yeah. Councilor Blank.
What is the bid at?
Well, with incentives, we're about 6 years.
That's impressive. Great, excellent.
So we look forward to your proposed
I'll get it right over.
order. We'll review it Thursday, and then we'll go from there at the next meeting.
That's fantastic.
Hearing no further questions, all those in favor to lay the matter, Councilman McLaughlin lays the matter on the table, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Great question.
Thank you guys.
Great project.
Right, you're
I
gonna
have
send us
something I
this?
want to take off.
Say that again? Yeah, we're gonna do,
Send this
So,
to us?
Yes.
I'll copy that.
um,
Do you want to put the bulk out, like 20 of them?
Sure, yeah, that's a good idea, because if we bring it up in council.
You got it. Thank you.
Councilor Harris moves to take 1345,
Yes.
1349,
I don't wanna
Main
be-
Street, 22 Fairfield Road, off the table, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Exciting.
I like it. That's great.
Councilor Harris moves to authorize the chair and the clerk to
Thanks, Ken.
review, redact, and to disclose to the public the law department opinions 3A and 3B 3A we received last week and 3B we received today. So that the applicant, the attorney can review those opinions. The 3A dealt with the plans, and 3B dealt with the order, and we haven't, I haven't read it yet.
Oh, sorry.
Counselor Harris made that motion. On that motion, discussion to release. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Counselor Connors, did you have anything to add?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Ordinance and Rules Committee. Michael Connors, Connors and Connors from 689 Main Street on behalf of LPC Northeast LLC. Just, I know you mentioned that you haven't read them. Did it close out at 3A, 3B?
Correct. 3A came
See
last week,
what's,
and dealt with the plans. 3B came today and dealt with the order.
But it ended.
Correct.
Great. And the only other thing I'll mention is I did file, just due to the timing of the meetings in September, the previous time extension we had given was going to run out at the end of the month, 2 days after your last meeting in September. So I filed, even though it's not technically on the council docket until next Monday, a time extension, just so you had it in hand tonight. You didn't have to request a negative decision from the law department
And what
until
date
the
is
end of
this?
October. 2 days after.
October
the last
31st,
meeting.
great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Until October 26th. Yeah,
Wonderful.
2 days after the October 24th meeting.
Great. Questions from the councilors? Hearing none, Councilor Dunn moves to table this matter to a date certain of October 3rd. Discussion on that table? None available. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilor Harris moves to take the matter, large family daycare dated 4/12/2021 off the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I think Councilor Harris moves to invite a lot of companies to talk to us. So, Councilor Harris, we'd like to finalize this matter concerning large family daycare, which will require an ordinance change and thus an advertisement for a public hearing. So we'd like to get the law department here to help us complete this matter. So we have a motion on the table to invite the law department into our October 3rd meeting for the large daycare. On that discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. That request has been approved, and Councilor Harris moves to table that matter of the large family daycare. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Councilor Harris moves to take the snow plowing, snow removal ordinance, proposed ordinance off the table. All
So,
those-
dated 2/14/2022.
Dated 2/14/22 off the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Councilor Harris, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. We received from Attorney Sewell of our law department an opinion, of what is possible. I found it helpful, but I also feel like the structure of the language of the ordinance change doesn't probably need to be very complicated for what we're trying to accomplish. And since she's already done the analysis through this opinion, I'm going to make a request that the law department, Attorney Sewell, draft a snow shoveling ordinance based upon the law department memo dated 9/8/22 with track changes on, and we'd like that before this committee by October 17th. Additionally, that city attorney drafting the ordinance attend the ordinances and rules committee for the committee Q&A. We are nearing snow season, and we'd like to have progress on this. Remember, this isn't about snow misery, this is about pedestrian safety. And I'm telling you, the swings in weather, we're probably in, Charter's Almanac says we're in for one heck of a winter, so I'd like to see some relief. And then she raised questions in here, I put it in my request, that the questions on pilot language, please refer to Attorney Azadi. Attorney Azadi was with us that whole night, discussed this, and I'm not gonna advise an attorney how to put pilot language in. I would defer to the master of such, which is Attorney Azadi, and she can confirm it. That's the sense of my request. I have ready for the committee.
Great, and the date that you want this draft on?
October 17th.
Great, so you've heard the sense of the motion. Councilor Harris has requested Attorney Sewell to write up a draft proposed snow removal ordinance based upon her opinion that was sent on September 8th of 2022, and for that draft ordinance to be sent by October 17th, 2022 to this committee. On that motion, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Councilor Harris, you still have the floor.
I'd like to lay that one down on the table.
Councilor Harris moves to lay that matter back on the table, the snow removal ordinance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Any other further matters before this board? Hearing none, Councilor Dunn moves to adjourn at 9:59. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. And aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.